In 1938, Wilhelm Koenig was digging through the basement of the Iraqi State Museum in Baghdad when he found a dusty wooden box. Inside were several 2,000-year-old clay jars. Instead of standard pottery, each yellow clay pot contained a hollow cylinder of sheet copper. Inside that cylinder was a suspended iron rod, and the whole mechanism was tightly capped and insulated with an asphaltum seal. This specific configuration looked highly deliberate. Later researchers built exact replicas and poured in a weak acid known to the ancients, like vinegar. The resulting chemical reaction generates a steady output of 2 volts. Wilhelm Koenig had found a functioning electrical battery, mass-produced 18 centuries before the scientific revolution supposedly discovered how to generate a current. This low-voltage power served a specific industrial purpose. Artifacts recovered from Sumerian and Egyptian sites show that artisans used these electrical currents to electroplate thin layers of gold and silver onto copper jewelry and vases. The evidence of advanced chemistry stretches even further. In the burial site of a 3rd-century Chinese general, researchers found metal belt fasteners cast from an aluminum alloy. Extracting pure aluminum from raw ore requires sustained, high-heat electrolysis, a technique modern industry only perfected in the mid-1800s. The existence of these physical artifacts shatters the strict linear progression of human history. They place advanced electrical mastery thousands of years in the past. If ancient civilizations possessed the chemical knowledge and the electrical power to manipulate metals on a molecular level, we have to look for the other massive technological systems that have slipped out of our collective memory. This technological trail leads from small chemical reactions in clay jars to the raw, massive electrical forces of the atmosphere itself. Historical records suggest King Numa Pompilius possessed specific methods for drawing lightning down from the sky. Centuries later, King Solomon protected his massive temple with a roof covered in sharp gold points linked to metal conductors driven deep into the ground, a lightning rod system that predates Benjamin Franklin by nearly 3,000 years. Ancient Hebrew texts describe the sohar, glowing crystalline objects that illuminated dark rooms with a brilliant, steady light, requiring no fuel and creating no smoke. The physical footprint of this smokeless light remains visible. The deepest, most isolated interior corridors of the Giza Pyramid show no trace of soot or smoke damage on their ceilings, despite being built far beyond the reach of natural sunlight. Early humanity didn't merely survive the elements, they engineered systems to actively channel and direct them. Viewed through the lens of energy manipulation, monuments like Stonehenge appear as functional components of a larger planetary machine. These sites along meridians of the planet. These structures acted as acupuncture points to stabilize and channel the Earth's electromagnetic field. The construction of these nodes required a level of engineering that bypasses standard archaeological explanations. At Sacsayhuaman, thousands of massive, irregularly shaped polygonal stones are locked together with such precision that a piece of paper cannot slide between them. Understanding this network requires looking at human biology. Dolphins possess a brain cortex 30. Our ancestors likely operated as a bio-civilization, utilizing a higher percentage of their neural capacity to interact directly with the environment. A society with this level of mental acuity and biological sensitivity would have no need for wheels or fossil fuels. They harmonized their own innate bioenergy with the living currents of the Earth. Maintaining such a globally unified system required a level of social harmony that eventually eroded. Ancient accounts suggest the technology collapsed when the operators did. As populations descended into competition, jealousy, and eventually warfare, the collective mental focus required to maintain the grid fractured. As this mental harmony eroded, so did the ability for total, instantaneous recall. Ancient philosophers like Plato noted that the invention of writing was actually a sign of decay, an external elixir created only after the internal power of memory began to fail. Without active maintenance, the planetary magnetic field weakened. The nodes could no longer balance the Earth's energies, leaving the world vulnerable to violent weather patterns and shifting polar ice caps. We live in the shadow of this collapse, utilizing brute force and heavy industry to do what was once achieved with mental clarity. Today, our global magnetic field is once again diminishing. We are leaving ourselves exposed to the same cosmic and gravitational triggers that strained the ancient world to its breaking point. But the physical architecture of that energy grid remains standing. The great megalithic nodes still hold their geometric positions across the globe. The blueprints for this planetary machine are preserved within the structure of global mythology and the remnants of esoteric sciences. Rebuilding a stable world requires us to set aside our modern divisions and become researchers of our own past, working to decipher the network that once protected us. The solution to global stability is built into the architecture of our planet. It is waiting for us to remember how it works.